Today's topic, I want to discuss closing out an annuity. What are some of the things to know so that you don't make very common mistakes that individuals make when either trying to surrender their annuity account or trying to replace it with an inferior product? So to take a step back, we want to be mindful of what some of these annuity accounts, what are some of the features of these annuity accounts? Because not all annuities are created equal. You have some annuities, and the main premise of an annuity from the traditional sense was to give a lump sum of money to an insurance company and have that insurance company leverage the law of large numbers and their mortality tables and pay back this individual in the form of monthly income, semi-annual income, or annual income for the rest of their life. So a quick example would be if somebody had a $100,000 bucket of money and they said, okay, I want to go and pull out $10,000 from this account every year to the day that I pass away. If this money was not invested in anything, it was just basically sitting in a bucket or underneath a mattress, we understand that if this individual was age 60 and he kept living and living and living, by the time he's age 70, there's no more money left. That individual would have outlived their retirement savings. So what this individual could have done was say, I have $100,000. Let me go to all the different insurance carriers and say, will you be willing to make me an offer to produce lifetime income to the day that I pass away? So maybe the top carrier that came back says, yes, we'll give you $10,000 per year. If you give us a $100,000 lump sum, we'll pay you $10,000 per year for the rest of your life. So if this person lived to age 90, they would have given $100,000 to the insurance company at age 60. They would have been paid back $10,000 per year for those next 30 years, received payments of $300,000, and it only cost them $100,000. Now, be mindful, that's a very extreme hypothetical example, but that's one of the reasons why somebody would leverage an annuity and insurance company to give them lifetime income. You'd be doing it for the income side. Now, that's just one type of annuity. So there's a couple of different features that produce lifetime income. The main feature in particular is known as annuitization. So you could have a single premium immediate annuity where you're giving a lump sum dollar amount and the insurance company is paying back the individual within 30 days to start their first payments, and then those payments will last for the rest of their lives. It could leverage like a deferred income annuity where rather than have them receive income for this year, maybe they're going to defer and not receive income until starting in year 2 or year 5. So therefore that could give higher income because you're not going to take the income, as fast as if you take it immediately. So all those are different variations of annuity accounts and annuity contracts. When you start going throughout the years and more into the future, there was different types and variations of annuities that came out. You have ones known as fixed annuities or MYGAs. You have ones that are known as fixed index annuities or FIAs. You have ones known as variable annuities. You have different rider features within all these types of accounts. So let's say if you want to make sure that you have control of your account value, but you're also producing a lifetime income stream, that's known as a rider, or you want to have a death benefit rider saying that whenever you pass away, a specific death benefit could go to your beneficiary. So there's a lot of different bells and whistles, and there's thousands of different combinations of annuity accounts that somebody could get set up in. The reason why I make that point is there's also thousands of different reasons why somebody should either get out of an annuity, can replace annuity, or just, either stay in their annuity based on their specific situation and seeing if mathematically it makes sense or if there's a specific goal that might have been in that individual's life when they first got set up with that annuity is no longer a goal anymore. And that might be a reason, to do so. So, be mindful that there's a whole multitude of different annuities. What I'm going to do is show you examples on why somebody would surrender an annuity, replace an annuity. What are some problems when people try to set up a surrender or they're doing it the wrong way and they're forcing the annuity account to be closed out, and it's actually hurting them thousands of dollars of a penalty known as a surrender charge in doing so. So the key takeaway is each individual situation is different. Things could also change. You could have better features available, similar to the features of a car. I used this example before in the past. If let's say you drive a Lexus and you drove a 2005 Lexus, if let's say you're now driving a 2021 Lexus, all the features, all the benefits are significantly different than what they were in the past. Heated seats, air conditioning, Sirius satellite radio, whatever you want to have, the different features of a car, very similar with the annuities. You could go and just like you're replacing a car, you could go and replace an annuity, but you have to be careful when doing so because you could really shoot yourself in the foot if you have a long surrender schedule, and it might not be as appealing as what was originally shown to you. So what I mean by that is the first way on how you could close out annuity is by surrendering an annuity altogether. The reasons why somebody might want to do this is because their current annuity account is paying very low rates of return compared to what they could get, elsewhere or in the market. So the first example would be with like a fixed annuity or a multi-year guaranteed annuity. If let's say this person is set up in a fixed annuity and it's only paying a 1% rate of return, but they could go place their money into a fixed annuity that's paying them a 3% rate of return, why would they sit into this 1 year, this fixed annuity that's only paying 1% when they could get 3 times that value elsewhere? So that would be a reason to change that because obviously it's paying a lower rate of return, where this individual could therefore get a higher rate of return. Same sort of concept with the fixed index annuity. A fixed index annuity gives you a gain based on the index performance of the index that's linked to that type of account. So rather than pay this individual or pay the account a fixed interest rate every single year, what happens is you're either going to receive a positive rate of return or you're going to receive a 0% rate of return. It's going to gain whenever the market index increases at the anniversary date or gain 0%. Gain or gain 0%. So when I say low rates, it's not just as simple as saying, oh, well, it's whatever the index performs, whatever the market performs, that's what you're going to have a gain of. You have these different things known as cap rates or participation rates. So if, let's say, you have an S&P 500 that's linked to your fixed index annuity, but after you're seeing through all the smoke and mirrors, you realize that your cap rate on this is only 2%. So that means even if the S&P 500 gains 20% in a given year, you're capped at only receiving a 2% gain. But if the market went down, you're going to receive a 0% gain. 0% to 2% is still a garbage type of scenario. An individual might not like that because the cap limits are so low or the participation rates are so low, or you have too large of a spread where you can't really make any sort of return. So that would be a reason for somebody to surrender their annuity account and just say, hey, give me my money, let me put in something else, or let me just hold on to it because I don't like the fact that it's restricted and I'm getting this measly rate of return. Another reason would be high fees. So this is very common with variable annuities. And a variable annuity is what I always try to equate to is like a duck boat. It's a type of half boat, half car. It doesn't make a very good car and it doesn't make a very good boat. A variable annuity, if you're trying to leverage it for like an income play, it doesn't make a very good investment and it doesn't make a very good income related vehicle. So yes, it could give you income and yes, it could be used as an investment, but it's not optimized in either of those areas. One of the things with variable annuities is you could have significantly high fees. You could have mortality and expense related fees. You could have different insurance related costs. You have different rider related fees, income rider related fees, death benefit related fees. You could have sub account related fees with the funds that you're invested in. So you could have an enormous amount of fees that are draining down your bucket, draining down your account. And after you realize this and saying, okay, well, if I stay in this account and I'm getting hit with 3-4% in fees each year, that's obviously a detriment. That means that my account's already starting out the gate with minus 4% in this example before the actual market does anything, before my funds actually do anything. So let's just say if the funds went down 10%, it didn't just go down 10%, it went down 10% plus the minus 4%, which you could lose 14% value in just that one downward market year, let alone this could be even significantly worse. Or let's say in years that went up, when the market went up 10%, if you had 4% in fees draining out, you're only going to be able to net a positive 6% in that example. That might be too small. So high fees are a large reason why individuals, in particular with variable annuities, they get out of variable annuities and either replace that into a better situation that's more suited for what they're trying to accomplish, or they just remove their monies and go into low-cost, no-load mutual funds, low-cost ETFs, different variable-related accounts, whether that's a brokerage account, IRA account, Roth IRA account. There's a whole multitude of things you could do. The next point I want to make, and really this is a key point, is a better opportunity. So I'm going to use an income example, an income-related example, because it's very common. If let's say somebody got set up with an older annuity, or even if it's a couple years old, 5, 10 years old, 2 years old, whatever that case is, let's just say that this individual had $300,000 in this annuity, and the main purpose of leveraging that specific company, we're going to call it company ABC, was for an income play, meaning that they have their money in there. This is the account value, and they know that in the next 2 years they want to trigger income. Company ABC is going to give this individual $30,000 of income starting in the next 2 years. So this is going to accomplish what their income need is, or maybe they're falling short of what their income related gap is. If you have company XYZ that they have much better offerings, and they say, hey, if you go and you replace this annuity, it's $300,000, you place it over with company XYZ, in the next 2 years when you want to trigger income, it's not going to be $30,000, it's going to be $50,000. Company XYZ is producing a better income-related result than company ABC. The main premise of leveraging this contract, this account, from inception, was to produce a nice, consistent cash flow in there. If you have a better offering, then yes, it makes significantly more mathematical sense to go with something that you could squeeze a lot more juice, a lot more income on a lifetime basis with company XYZ than you could have with company ABC. So that's one of the reasons for a better opportunity. Other reasons, like I mentioned before, with fixed annuity. If one fixed annuity is paying you 4%, but you're locked into a fixed annuity, let's say, is only paying 2%, go with the one that's paying 4% if there's no sort of penalties when doing so. Or even if there is a penalty, doesn't make mathematical sense to still go over and transfer your monies because basically the penalty is not going to be as much of a hindrance as losing out on that opportunity to replace it. And lastly, the concept of surrendering annuity for the individual that just says, I just want to remove my money, but I don't know if I'm removing it from a really good account. So if you're sitting in an annuity that has low rates, you have high fees, there could potentially be better opportunities, maybe not even into another annuity account, but you just want to have a better growth opportunity and take the money out and invest it more further into the market. Well, is there a penalty that's involved? Because typically with these annuity accounts, you have something known as a decreasing surrender schedule. So if you're in a 5-year decreasing surrender schedule, you might have a 5% surrender charge in year 1, a 4% surrender charge in year 2, a 3% surrender charge in year 3, meaning that if, let's say, you put your money in there and after 2 years you want to fully remove your monies, you're going to get dinged with a 4% penalty in this example by removing those dollars. You didn't play by the rules of the contract, so therefore the insurance company that gave you this offering, they're going to penalize you for it. That's where, it could be ultimately a detriment. Now, if let's say there's no penalties and there's a much better opportunity elsewhere, it might make sense to just completely surrender the monies and, put your money into a different account altogether. The next section, replacing an annuity. So I did kind of touch up on this. Better income rider availability. So this is something that we come into common circumstances with this regarding an income rider with a variable annuity that used to be offered in early 2000s versus income riders today. So you might have had certain cash flows that, as an example, if somebody goes and put $1 million with an annuity account, and, in the next couple of years, they're going to produce a 6% cash flow from this with an old variable annuity through an income rider versus the same $1 million if they went and they replaced it. And this will now be giving them an 11% cash flow. Obviously, the newer hybrid annuity, it doesn't have to be a variable annuity. You don't have to replace it from a variable to a variable. You could leverage a variable annuity, replace that into a fixed index annuity with an income rider. It's just really whatever mechanism that makes the most mathematical sense, with doing so. So a better income rider availability, same thing would be a better death benefit rider availability. If let's say somebody, is not eligible for life insurance, but they want to set aside an account for their loved ones. So they say, hey, I have this, bucket of money. I have $100,000. I want to make sure that I'm at least leaving some sort of inheritance to my loved ones. I never want to actually touch these monies. I never want to use it for income. I just want this to grow as much as possible and have some sort of safety mechanism on it that's going to give it some sort of compound interest guarantee that will go as a lump sum to my beneficiaries. So you do have some accounts or some sort of, annuity accounts that do allow you to add death benefit features onto this, where they might say, okay, we're going to give you a 5% roll-up on this money, and then whenever you pass away, whatever this account balance is looking at, this death benefit account balance would get left over to your beneficiaries in the form of a lump sum. which is going to be higher than what the actual account balance, the actual account value is, with that account, because you basically you triggered you place that death benefit rider mechanism onto your account. So maybe you were in an inferior death benefit related annuity account and it was only paying a 3% roll up versus another one that's available now might be paying a 7% roll up. Obviously, the 7% roll up is going to be more favorable for that individual situation and for the beneficiary situation. Another reason to replace an annuity is, let's say if you're paying a fee on your current annuity and you want to you want to replace it with something that doesn't have a fee or has a very small fee. So maybe you were leveraging a variable annuity account and you're paying 3% in fees, and it was susceptible to downward market losses. You weren't really getting a true benefit from this, and you're also risk averse. Well, it might make sense to go into something, we coined the term a naked fixed index annuity that could still give you favorable rate of return, a consistent growth rate in there, but it has no fees associated with it and also no downward market loss associated with it. So something that is either lower cost or no cost is available in some circumstances based on the individual's age, based on the state that they live in, all those different features. The death benefit was what I just mentioned before, and then better growth potential. Even if, let's say, you're leveraging a variable annuity and it has a lot of fees, or you're leveraging a fixed index annuity and for whatever reason you have some of the indexes have fees associated with it, it doesn't make sense to replace it and go into something that has a better growth potential, and that would obviously be a common reason to replace that sort of account. So that obviously just talks about some examples of different things to know and different reasons why somebody would do it. What are some of the problems that individuals come into conflict with every time, or majority of the time whenever they're trying to surrender these accounts and replace these accounts? The first thing is that surrender schedule. If you were accidentally set up into the wrong annuity, and let's say you were set up in a 15-year surrender schedule, which does exist. I believe some of the higher ones, I think, could go up to like 18 or 20 years of a surrender schedule, which is just, excuse my language, bullshit for anybody to actually set you up in that sort of account. But if, let's say, you're in a 15-year surrender schedule and you still have 10 years left, and if you got out of this sort of annuity, you're going to get dinged with a 12% penalty. Well, unless you're able to net over 12% worth of benefits, it most likely isn't going to make sense to do so. So that's where you really want to look underneath the hood and figure out, okay, am I going to be penalized if I want to go and replace this annuity or remove my monies and dump it into my checking account, savings account, or dump it into just a regular IRA account? Because this is typically overlooked with the individual just says, oh, well, I'll just remove my money. And there's something on the actual terms where you're looking at either your online portal with your insurance company, or you're looking at your annual statement or your statement, and it says net surrender value. So you might actually see something known as your account value, which is going to be X amount of dollars, and then you're going to see something known as net surrender value, and that could be significantly less. Sometimes it does make sense, even if the surrender value is less, because you could go and replace that sort of account with something that might give you a type of bonus that will cover that surrender loss. So it's some sort of incentive to go into the plan, make sure that you're made whole, but then also make sure that it's customized to what you're trying to accomplish. So just be mindful of these different mechanisms. All because there is a surrender schedule doesn't mean necessarily you don't have to replace it. Unequivocally, you don't have to replace it. You could still replace it. You just have to be careful, and you have to make sure that the long haul benefits are going to be much better than the short-term related, the short-term detriment to that situation. Another common mistake is loss of benefits. If you set up an account and it was supposed to be set up for lifetime income, and you replaced it with an annuity that does not have lifetime income, does not have an income rider attached to it, but your main goal was for that income need, why would you do the replacement? Because you have these things known as your physical money, which is your account value, and then you have a calculation account known as an income base. Typically, the income base is significantly higher than what the account value is. An income base is nothing more than a calculation account that says when this individual turns X amount of age, it's going to be whatever this income base, benefit base account is, multiplied by the withdrawal rate percentage, which is based on that individual's age, is going to equal this lifetime income. So case in point, let's say if somebody's account value was sitting at $700,000, but their income base was sitting at $1 million, and their withdrawal rate percentage was sitting at 6%, we know that this individual, when they trigger income, is going to be given $60,000 of lifetime income. If they went and they took this $700,000, replaced it, And they said, oh, well, I wanted $60,000 of income, but they replaced it into an account that didn't have an income rider or had an inferior income. Well, then they just shot themselves in the foot. So they just lost out on that income benefit base, and they lost out on that $60,000 lifetime income stream that could have went to them by staying within that sort of account. So just be mindful of what you have, and that's going to be the most important aspect, is making sure that you're not getting caught up in the nice shiny object, making sure you're not caught up in this crazy math. It has to at least correlate to your needs and correlate to your situation on what you're trying to accomplish. Other benefits would be the death benefit as an example. You were set up in this account, you might be paying a 1% rider fee because there's a death benefit that's growing with it. And all you do is you see this rider fee of 1%, say, oh, why am I even in this? Not realizing that you actually have a nice death benefit that's sitting there. So that same sort of example, let's say if your physical money, your account value is sitting at $500,000, but your death benefit is sitting at $750,000. If you went and you surrendered this account, yes, you'd be able to walk away with $500,000, but you just lost out on giving this death benefit to your beneficiaries of $750 in that example. So does it make sense to do it? Does it not make sense? Did your goals change from why you originally set it up? Did you fully understand what you got set up in? And lastly, which I mentioned before, is watch out for the shiny object. What exactly is the benefit by replacing it or changing out your annuity? If there is a true mathematical benefit, it might make sense. If not, don't get held up on the shiny object. So like as an example, this is very common with hybrid annuities, which more commonly are known as fixed index annuities with income riders. You might hear something that says, oh, we're going to give you an 8% guarantee on your money. That's not necessarily true. What happens is if somebody is trying to leverage an annuity for a growth-related need and not for an income-related need, then why in the heck would they want to place an income benefit rider onto their account? All they're going to be doing is paying for that benefit, and it's going to be a detriment to that individual's actual physical money. We get these calls time and time again. I meet with clients time and time again. They said they got set up with an annuity, but it's fine because they're getting paid an 8% guarantee on their account. And I said, no, that's not how the account works. What you got set up in was something known as an income rider account or a hybrid annuity, which your physical money is doing one thing, and you have your income base, which is rolling up and doing another. The only reason why you'd be leveraging that sort of 8% roll-up of that income base would be for lifetime income. Sometimes, even if this income base is nice and fat, is growing larger and larger and larger, that doesn't necessarily equate to the highest possible lifetime income stream. Because let's say when somebody does become aged that they're going to trigger lifetime income, if their income base is sitting at $1 million, but you have another company has an income base sitting at $800,000, this income base, which we're just going to call it company ABC, is sitting at $1 million. Company XYZ is sitting at $800,000. It goes by the combination of the income base multiplied by your withdrawal rate percentage equals your lifetime income. If your withdrawal rate percentage on this account is 4%, but with this account, the withdrawal rate percentage is 7%, company ABC is only going to be able to produce $40,000 of lifetime income each year. Even though this number looked higher, it looked like a greater benefit than company XYZ. Company XYZ would be able to produce $56,000 of income. This is $16,000 of more lifetime income annual cash flow for the rest of this individual's life. So this makes sense to go and replace the monies and place it in with company XYZ as opposed to ABC if the need was for pure income. The other common problem are the bonuses. You have all these bonuses that are out there and they're little teaser rates. So like as an example, with a fixed annuity or a multi-year guaranteed annuity, you might have one that's paying a 4% rate of return, but when you actually look at the fine print, it's only 4% for that first year. And then for the next 4 years, it drops down to 1% per year. So this individual would have been paid 4%, 5%, 6%, 7%, 8% rate of return after all 5 years have been done, versus another company which might be giving this person 3%, but for the next 5 years, which equals 15% rate of return. This shiny object showed a 4% initial bonus, and therefore this individual got suckered into this 4%, even though that the interest rate dropped down for all those next 4 years to 1%. So obviously you just want to see, okay, Does it make sense? Look underneath the hood. Does it make sense to leverage, this company over the other company? Another common mistake with fixed index annuities are leveraging the bonus of, let's say, one company is giving a person a 5% bonus while another company has a 0% bonus. Well, that might be fine, but if the company that's giving you a 5% bonus has a cap rate of 2% versus the company that doesn't have a bonus has a cap rate of 15%, it makes sense to go with the one that has the higher cap rate because you're going to have much higher potential growth. In just 1 year, you could supersede that bonus of 3 times with the higher cap than you did with what that initial cap was. So, that's different things. Is bonuses, they can make sense. Sometimes they can be good, but majority of the time it's a sucker rating. It's just a shiny object. It's a teaser rate that the companies want you to take the bait on, so that now you're locked into a long surrender schedule with that sort of account. So obviously I discussed the different things to know, why individuals do that replacement, surrender their accounts, just leave their accounts alone. What are some of the problems to avoid? Now, what are the solutions? One of the things that we do is we run something known as annuity stress tests. So first and foremost is figuring out what your current situation is. So what is your point A? What is your point B? Meaning, what age do you want to retire if you're not currently retired? And then from point B until date of death, what are your ultimate goals? So we build out a roadmap to your goals. We want to make sure that you're able to see the 30,000-foot view of your financial picture. Then we review your specific annuity accounts. So we want to say, okay, what are the fees involved? What are some of the pros? What are some of the cons? Are there much further cons than there are pros? Does it make mathematical sense to replace what you currently have? Does it make mathematical sense to surrender what you currently have and just sit in a cash position or just invest that money? Or should you just leave the account alone altogether because it is sufficing what your specific goal is? So it's reiterating what your goal is. So basically, we want to make sure that every little angle is covered. There's thousands of different annuity related solutions. And unfortunately, majority of the times, and this is why probably when you do some research on annuities, you'll have a lot of bad press on annuities. Majority of it is justified. Some of it is not justified because it really depends on your age. It depends on your state. It depends on if you're trying to leverage income and if you're leveraging the proper income product or solution versus if you want to leverage growth. Now, do you want to have high related growth? Do you want to have more safer, consistent growth? Do you want to have fixed related growth? All these different mechanisms come into play, and that's where we have an actual process set up, a plan set up, rather than just say, okay, go into this portfolio, go into this one account, and just call it a day. There has to be certain shifts. There has to be an actual reason to do a replacement, to do a surrender, or just leave the account completely alone. So that's where we take a lot of pride in our annuity stress tests. It's part of our retirement diet plan process. We trademarked a process known as the retirement diet plan to make sure that an individual could have their financial planning optimized in any market environment. An up market, that their situation is, that they're satisfied with their situation. In a down market, they could be satisfied with their situation. And also in a sideways market, they could be satisfied with their situation, because it's all those different areas are optimized correctly. And it's like setting up different pieces of a puzzle. You don't want to go and set up an income-related strategy towards a growth-related account, just like you don't want to leverage a growth-related account to set up an income-related strategy or an emergency, a liquidity-related strategy. So that's where you just want to make sure that you're crawling before you walk before you run. And with our annuity stress test process, we try to educate you first and foremost and make sure to give you a pat on the back saying, hey, everything you did was fantastic, or you know what, this is concerning. This is mathematically why it's concerning. This is where it could be a large detriment to your position. So if you found value in this video, feel free to, and you want to speak to a specialist regarding your specific situation, feel free to call our 1-800 number. It's 1-800-566-1002. You could also go directly to our website, Afasi Financial Group, or afasifinancial.com or retiresharp.com. It both goes to the same spot. You'll be able to review our process. You'll be able to download free reports. You'll be able to set up an online calendar appointment if you want to set up a date and time that works best for your schedule. But we offer 24/7 answering service. So if there is a specific time, mornings, nights, holidays, weekends, whatever the case it is, feel free to give us a call and we'll make sure that you're set up with a specialist, but just make sure to reference this video so that we can have the correct specialist, set up for your specific position and your specific situation to help you out best. I want to thank you very much for watching this video. Feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Retire Sharp. Give this video a like button, hit the like button, and then also feel free to comment and ask any questions along the way, and we'll be sure to respond, the best we can. Thanks so much, guys.